Hello friends, it's me Rob once more, here in my throne of power at the head of my gaming table, and got a few things on my mind, so I figured I'd come out here, chat, grab a coffee, and talk about a few things. So here we are, another coffee with Rob. So, a couple things. First of all, got a new subscriber. Don't know if I welcomed you properly. Todd? Not sure if that's any Todd I know, but you're welcome. So, hello. Of course, happy with, every new person that comes in is another person who clicked on and said, yes, I liked this and I want to see more. So that makes me feel really good. New subscribers are awesome. Those of you who are still with me, still making me feel good, thank you very much. I appreciate the heck out of all of you. And I was also delighted when I was going back through my YouTube notifications. I saw a comment on one of my Coffee with Rob's, one of the earlier ones, and it posed a question: any more Massive Darkness? For those of you who missed that part of my channel, I have a series called Cardboard, where we talk about card games and board games rather than the tabletop games that I spend more of my time covering. For a stretch of it, I was doing solo play for a game called Massive Darkness, which I kickstarted. It's a game by Cool Mini or Not, and they basically switched to a business model of coming out with these huge games and then having these Kickstarters to guarantee them buys. And they throw on lots and 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 lots of stretch goals. So more expansions and stuff that you get for free for going with their Kickstarter. And I like free. Unfortunately, the Kickstarter itself, I went all in on that one, which is kind of what they figure in that people could do. So not only did I get all the bonus stuff, I also got all of the expansions. Everything that's available for Massive Darkness, I own. Except for a couple of the little trivial things like extra sets of dice and stuff like that. In hindsight, I kind of wish I had gotten some of those extra sets of dice, for a reason that'll be clear. Terry, if you are one of my subscribers and or you are on, you have liked me on Facebook, in my Omnicide channel, yes, I'm definitely going to do more Massive Darkness because I spent a lot of money on that game. I'd be a fool not to, quite honestly. It's when you take everything that I can account for. I actually went to my gaming group and I'm like, hey, there's this game. It's got a lot of really neat miniatures in it. You guys want to go in on this with me? I think they did throw in some money into it. So in part, it's partially theirs. Not that they would really begrudge me using it or doing anything with it. One of my friends actually was so enamored of one of the expansions, the Elementals line, that he went and bought it. Right, he just said, here's the money for it, I want that. But he wants it here, he wants it to stay as part of the collection, he just wanted to make sure we got it. Which is kind of a pity because while the molds are brilliant, they are beautiful miniatures, wonderful takes on the concepts of these different elementals. The water elemental, Primal, it's like a giant wave, but at the same time it's got a huge watery hand, and I believe it's got an anchor, and part of it is the keel of a boat. It's really cool. The fire elemental is like an iron cage that was built up in the form of a person with a huge bonfire in the middle of it. It's really nice. But as roaming monsters go, they're kind of hit or miss. So the actual figures in gameplay are okay. The miniatures themselves are awesome, however. Oddly enough, though, they tend to be on the smaller side for the roaming monsters. But they're still very, very good miniatures. So One of my great regrets is that my vision has taken some hits, so painting has been rather difficult. I'm looking for a magnifying glass rig so that I can see finer details easier. My problem is that in my left eye, I've got a spot in the center of my field of vision that I can't see out of because of a swollen optical nerve, and because of damage that my right eye has taken, it's a little blurry. So fine details are tough for me right now, which is something that you really want for painting, but I'll give it my best shot. So I want to do another season, basically, with a new hero, but I'm going to go through part of the Lightbringer set, that's the Kickstarter exclusive stuff. They included some new dungeon tiles for it that are either crystalline in nature or lava, fire-based. And I was thinking about doing the campaign for that with the next season. And doing a different character. I'm not going to use Siegfried. Siegfried was fun. An interesting character. I was playing the Pit Fighter Berserker. And the more damage they take, the more dangerous they get. The downside is, I had a couple of gimmicks to try to get health back, but without other people around to help you and heal you, it was tough. So yeah, we're not gonna do that combination again. We'll try something different. I've kind of fallen in love with the Shadow Barbarian. It's another class that's really good with. Let's see, they have I think a hammer and blade, where if they have a sword in one hand and a mace or a hammer in the other, they get better, which is brilliant for a campaign, because then you're not relying on whatever comes up to hopefully make your combination hit. You can keep those weapons that worked for you and keep going. So that's cool. But my favorite ability they have is the ability to throw weapons. So they can take a melee weapon and they can chuck them at their enemies. It makes them lose the weapon, but quite honestly, a lot of the trash that you're going to find in the dungeon has relatively little use. So it's a great way to cycle through some of your stuff. I know some people would want to transmogrify it to more powerful items, but quite honestly, if you're already happy with what you've got, you might as well chuck it if you need a ranged weapon and don't want to swap out weapons to do it. It's a pretty neat but chaotic ability. I remember we've played games because you get a boost to damage in addition to the weapons damage. We were feeding the Barbarian weapons to throw. It was great. So I might do something with that. I don't know. I might do a different combination too. Something, maybe I'll do one of the Lightbringer ones, because the Ned the Bone Crusher is an option. But then I have all the expansions too. So I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll make a decision at some point, and we're definitely going to be doing another season of Cardboard again. That was way too short. I had some people who thought that Alex was a little too self-indulgent in the game, but he's a teenager. He's gonna do what he thinks is funny sometimes, and that's the unpredictability of the series. So we'll try to get in a few more card games with the two of us and show off some new games for you guys. But going back to Massive Darkness, I've got to point to this. I will be doing another season of solo play with that. A full group, I've discovered, is too cumbersome. Much as I love having my friends over and playing these games, we did one scenario, and I went all out. I'll put some. Well, I'll just say it. It gave me some ideas for what I'm going to do the next time I do this. But, more to the point, I had my 3D dungeon set up. And I put that out in place of the tiles that you would normally use. And I have 3D dungeon pieces with torches and other LED lights. So I was able to actually physically light up parts of the dungeon as were appropriate. It was a really nice effect. It really worked well. My friends really were impressed and had a lot of fun with it. The thing was, it took us 5 hours to do that scenario. It was painful. And we even skipped 2 whole rooms we didn't go into. One was kind of an odd choice in placement where they had it, because the final boss was right in front of a door to another room. So it didn't really make a lot of sense that was there. You would have needed somebody with Slippery to get in and go by the greater monster to get into the room, which would have invited the guards of the room to start attacking. It was odd as a design choice for that encounter, but we had fun. We got through it, but it took 5 hours. So, I'm not going to do a game with multiple people. Solo play seems to work best as far as duration and everything. But you guys let me know if you guys want me to do it with the tiles so you can see it as faithfully done by Massive Darkness, or if you want to see it with the 3D dungeons and effects, which I am more than willing to do. It takes a bit for the setup, but the way it works out, I have a full day off before my gaming day, so I could lay that out, run the session, and have it cleaned up by the time my game starts. So I can do this for you guys. The second thing about Massive Darkness, because like I said, it's an investment and I do want to use it, I'm going to be starting a new series. Yeah, I've got a lot of these juggling around, and unfortunately I'm not a full-time YouTuber to give you as much content as I wish I could. But, you know, if I can put out a video a week and do something different from time to time and hopefully hit a wider audience. I mean, Massive Darkness hasn't been something I've done in a while, and I've got people who are still asking for it. I'm going to make videos for those folks, but I can't give up on the other things that I've got going on as well. I just got in a question for Ask the Wizard, for example, that I want to answer, and you know, I had a lot of irons in the fire. I'm very happy. Very, very happy with people engaging and giving me things. This is great. But the new series I want to do for all of you Massive Darkness fans out there is I'm going to do a series called Dungeons and Darkness. Basically, it's part of my Dungeon Lab series where we talk about game mechanics. I've only done one of those, I think, that I've printed so far. But my idea is, I'm really a mechanics guy. I love dissecting mechanics of systems and figuring out how to make them work and thinking of different ways to spin them to make a slightly different game or maybe some house rules. And I want to put these out for all of you. I think it could be very useful for those of us who are gamers to hear, you know, how other people have applied these to the rules. The thing is, Massive Darkness is a very light role-playing game. In essence, you are taking on a role of a character. That character has various skills, and those skills dictate kind of how you play your character in a lot of the same way that a role-playing game might. It's just there's not a lot of role-play, it's role-play. And that's fine. That's how most of us started, or that's how a lot of us started playing these games. So what I want to do is I want to take monsters from Dungeons and Dragons and convert them over to Massive Darkness, so that if any of you out there who like Massive Darkness and play it, if you have any of these characters, and some of them, if you don't have them, are really cheap on the trade market, you want to add some spice to your game, throw in some monsters from Dungeons and Dragons, because they have lots and lots of pre-painted, cool plastic miniatures that would look great in a game. Mostly concentrating on the monsters, because the monsters are cool. In addition to that, I'm going to focus on two things. Taking one thing from Massive Darkness and converting it to Dungeons and Dragons, and one thing from Dungeons and Dragons and converting it to Massive Darkness. I'm going to be working on making it look good for you guys. So, I'm going to have to, for example, work on the blank template for monsters. I know there's one out there. I need to learn how to use it so that I can make it look as much like an official 5th edition monster page. Can't you imagine one for like the Overseer or the Abyssal Demon? Or, these are creatures that have their own unique looks and everything. They're not just cookie cuttered out from Dungeons and Dragons or some other game. So giving them their own stats and making them unique, or taking them as a unique creature like Chromatus, the Mad Unicorn. Yeah, it looks like a unicorn, but doesn't fight like one. The Chromatus in Massive Darkness, if you've seen this, Chromatus was another creature, I believe, from the Kickstarter expansion. It has a blasting attack. I'm guessing shoots rays out of its horn. Okay at close range, but it's devastating at magical range, which is 1 or 2 spaces away. Contrast that to a medium range magical attack from this singular unicorn, as well as the other abilities that it has, and you really could have an interesting character. I think you can teleport too. You'd really have an interesting character that, statted out, could make an interesting entrant into Dungeons and Dragons. Likewise, Dungeons and Dragons has a vast pool of monsters. And for those of us who have a lot of miniatures, finding ways of, say, taking the miniatures that you have and accounting for other powers and abilities might make for some flexibility in how you play your game. That's what I'm shooting for. And I'm hoping that the folks who love Massive Darkness, who've kind of jumped in and looked into my channel, appreciate, this attempt to build on this game and make it better and give you more diversity. So yeah, and it's not going to stop with Massive Darkness. My Dungeon Lab's is going to have more games. There's plenty of card games and board games that I think could really be tweaked and added to Dungeons and Dragons, or other role-playing games too. I'm not just going to limit myself to Dungeons and Dragons. There's a game that I've really been interested in called Battle Ball. I've had it for a while. It's basically kind of like Mutant League Football. You have a variety of characters, all with different technological bents and things, and it's built around some sort of Blood Bowl style arena football. But the mechanics are fairly straightforward, nothing too complicated, but I would be interested to see how that could be applied to, say, combat football for Shadowrun. That's something I'd like to do. So all it involves is stripping down the mechanics of one game, finding out the core mechanics of the host game that you're porting to, and figuring out how to make those work. And it comes down to probabilities and taking the strengths of one, applying it to the other, and it'll be fun. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So it'll also allow me to, show off some of the toys I've got. So that's never a bad thing, right? So that's a good thing. My Ask the Wizard series, I have another question, which is cool, because I haven't done an Ask the Wizard in a while, and I want to. It's going to be a little weird being Lord Cadrian de Flynn without the beard, but yeah, I'm in my my spring and summer look now, so we'll have the beard back by the winter, though. Or at least starting back. I grow my beard pretty quick. The ominous eye thing is done, but I've left him as a character that I can draw on again to use for either his own sidebar or as a different perspective in my Lair of Omnisci or any other channel, really. Just like I have Player nebulously floating around. I'll have to start indulging Player a little bit more now that I get to play. That's getting ever closer where I'm going to actually get to play in a regular role-playing game. It's been a while. But yeah, one of my players stepped up. I think I may have mentioned it. Stepping up to run a 5th edition game, which will be fun. And I'm still thinking about the character that I want to play. I think for creation of that character, I'm going to do my character witness for 5th edition by making my character for the tabletop role-playing game I'm going to actually be playing in. So that's really exciting. 5th edition is a lot different from 1st and 2nd edition, where I rolled to see what character I would get, or sorry, 0 edition, Beck Me, Basic edition, and then AD&D 1st edition. I haven't done the 2nd edition one yet. I just got the DMG for 2nd edition because I lost my old one. So I have a new one now. So we will be doing the 2nd edition character witness, 2nd edition D&D character witness soon. 3rd edition is going to be interesting. It's been a while since I've delved into 3rd edition. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually really kind of looking forward to the 4th edition one because I know so many people hate 4th edition. But a lot of people don't know about 4th edition. 5th edition has been a tidal wave that's kind of wiped the memory of 4th edition away. And I think it's not a bad system to remember. Both the good things for it, and there were good things about 4th edition, as well as the flaws of it. So I am actually looking forward to doing the 4th edition character witness. But I'm probably going to preempt the 3rd and 4th edition ones to do my 5th edition so I can make my character. And I'm going to make it in front of all of you to share that experience with all of you. The trick is I have to figure out what character I'm going to play, what kind of class. And I've been listening to a lot of people giving advice on character creation, and a lot of them are, try to do something you haven't done before. And that resonates with me because my opportunities for play, a lot of them are far in the past, back 20, 30 years ago. Lately it's been nothing but game mastering for the last 20, so with very few exceptions. So out of the basic character classes for Dungeons and Dragons, I really can go through very easily and pick out the classes that I've played a character of that class for a major amount of time. And none of them clearly were in 5th edition because I've been DMing the entirety of 5th edition since it's come out. I haven't played in any 5th edition games except for a couple of Adventurers League games. That doesn't really count. One-shots are fun, but rarely do you get a good bond or feel for the character for that. But I'll tell you what, I'll let you guys make a pitch for me. If you have a class that you think of that I should try, maybe I'm not considering it so much or whatever. These are the classes that I'm not going to do. I've decided I'm not going to play a cleric. My first character that I played was a cleric. I played him for quite a while. Also, the last time I played a 3rd edition game, I played a cleric, which was revelatory, considerably different from my first experiences, as I expected. I'm sure that playing a 5th edition cleric would be different beyond that. I can't help but looking at the light cleric and thinking, I have a cleric who can throw fireballs? Ooh. Yeah. It'd be cute. Breastplate armor, mace, chucking fireballs. That'd be fun. Anyhow. And besides which, Light has a lot of good gods. I mean, he's playing Forgotten Realms, so I'm immediately thinking Lathander, the Morning Lord. Be kind of cool. But I'm not going to play a cleric. I've already done that. I've played a monk. In AD&D, I played a monk that I really had a lot of fun with, but he died prematurely. So I played a monk in 3rd edition, and we played all the way up to epic level. I would like to play a monk again in 5th edition if I'm blessed with the time to do it, but this is not that character. So no monk. I really have to knuckle down with some discipline and not play a wizard. I love wizards. I really love wizards, and I kind of really want to play a wizard. But I've done that too often. I need to grow, and I need to move on and try something different. So, no wizard. I'm not going to do a fighter. I've done a few fighters before. And while the fighter is a lot different than it used to be, and they're a lot more viable than they used to be, I like a lot of what's been done with the fighters. It's not a new enough experience for what I want to do. So that's oh yeah, one other one. I played an NPC bard for quite a while. Almost to the point where I feel like I've played a bard. He was a good character. And I kind of like to do it, but I'm not really interested in much as playing a support class this time. I'd like to play something that can kind of stand on their own feet a little bit more. And then finally, the other class I'm ruling out. I'm on the fence, but I played a GM NPC thief in 2nd edition for quite a while. It was up to an epic level campaign, and I like the rogue a lot. I like the style. I can imagine this character I want to play. But I'm going to step back and try something different. So that leaves my class options of Barbarian. I can think of some fun barbarians. I've never played a barbarian, ever, to my knowledge. Played with barbarians, around barbarians, but I've never played one. So I'd kind of like to try that. Druid. I've never played a druid before. I've only ever had one druid in my party. Honestly, my group, we don't do druids. I'm not sure why. I think it might have been prejudices from 2nd edition where they're their spells were a little touch and go. Some of them were pretty useless in dungeons, for instance, so, I kind of wouldn't mind trying a druid. The Paladin. I have flirted with Paladins before, but never really committed. Not because I don't like the Paladins. The old awful good Paladins to me were a stirring example. And I feel like I've played a Paladin because of the character that I played in Exalted was very much like a Paladin in the game of Exalted that I played. But Paladin is still on the table. The thing is, every single group that I've run has had Paladins in them. And the first time we ran 5th edition, I had 2 Paladins in the group. That was fascinating, because one of them was kind of a scum rogue Paladin. He wasn't really scum, nor was he a rogue, but he was a Paladin of Tretherion who he could pick locks as well as a rogue, and he had a much different style than the proper, Oath of Duty type Paladin. So that was an interesting character dichotomy. And when I get to the Paladin class warfare, that's going to be a fun one too. A lot of similarities to Paladins and Bards going up through the editions, honestly. Paladin, what else? Warlock. I wanted to play a Warlock, but he died in 3rd edition, so Warlock is definitely on the table. Sorcerer, wouldn't mind a Sorcerer. There's a lot of interesting choices for Sorcerers, and I'm on board. I like from some of the different backgrounds that are available in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. There's a Celestial Warlock, I believe, which is odd to me, but kind of cool. I don't know. So yeah, that's definitely on the table. Ranger. I'm not real interested in the Ranger, conceptually. I think they're kind of a mishmash. Not one that really... But, quite honestly, if I'm putting it out there, if you think I should try a Ranger, sell me on it. And I'm open to the idea. And depending on how I roll, that might be a stronger idea too. But yeah, I'm thinking that it's going to be a lot of fun, whatever I do. And the cool thing is, you'll be along with me for the ride if you choose to watch that episode of Character Witness. So I have a lot of things coming up, and I'm really excited, and I'm really happy to be putting this out here for you. Still, now that my vision is coming back and reading is a lot easier for me, working on trying to help out my friend Tim do his get his 18 Inches of Blood book out. I got inspired with a new role-playing game idea that'll allow my dice file to come to fruition a lot earlier by narrowing and focusing on one lens of it, which is a game called Soul of the City. I think that's going to be really exciting. But I don't have a lot of time to do it because I've got other commitments. I want to help Tim out first. So when I really feel inspired for one thing, I work on that. When I feel inspired for another, I work on that. And any other time goes to you with my videos. So the life of a YouTube creator / game designer / writer, eh? So, well, no, got through a lot of this. That's my life right now. That's touching base with you. Comment if you have any ideas, if any of this sounds good to you. I think I've just demonstrated that even an offhanded comment, he asked for this Terry Sims on my other Coffee with Rob, number 5, and he simply asked, any more Massive Darkness? Four words is going to get at least another video out much quicker than I was going to. I was always going to do more Massive Darkness, and I was always going to do this Dungeons and Darkness. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be experimenting with the Dungeons and Darkness. I want to actually turn it into a proper roleplay game. Rules light, but still a real proper roleplay game. And all my friends that I had who had so much fun in my 3D dungeon delve of Massive Darkness, I'm going to try to get them hooked into it. Because none of them are, well, okay. At least half of them aren't or have no experience with tabletop role-playing games, except for a very light experience. And one of the others has some experience. I want to get them. And I'd like to have the entry for this be this Dungeons and Darkness game that I have in mind. So, it's a little sneaky. But I think they'll like it. They really had fun with the Massive Darkness game that I ran. So, when I went out and talked to them, and I'm like, what would you feel about having a character that you actually owned? And that you could pick up and keep going from where you left off, rather than just go through a scenario, begins, it ends, and you're done. And several of them are really positively responding to this, so I'm really excited about that too. Anything that brings new people into the hobby that are good folk who are fun to play with, I think is not a bad thing. So that's me. Here's to you. And stay tuned. We're going to keep making this better and better, and I'm going to keep working harder to produce good content for you. And if you're curious what's going on in the life of Rob, stay tuned. I'll have more coffee before long. Thank you very much for joining me again, and I will see you. Oh, also, new hat. Just picked this up. I love thrift store shopping. It's ironic because I'm the last person usually who will say anything, but this is a parental advisory explicit content. Not even sure what it's from. Premiere. And I always thought hot pink and black are a great combination, even for guys. There may be some day when I decide to do a rant and I wear the hat to warn everybody, and it'll, of course, I'll have something in the text. But if I ever say anything inappropriate and I know I'm going to rant and say inappropriate things, I promise I'll wear the hat and have some warnings for people. So almost always, this is a very family-friendly YouTube channel, but who knows? I do know the language, and one day I may feel so strongly about something that some of that language has to spill out. I just don't see when it happens, but who knows? So I'm Rob. Thank you for joining me, and I'll check you out next time. Thank you again, and love all of you, and can't wait to be in front of the camera again a little later this week to put out some more. I hope you guys enjoyed the last video I did, a new Omnis Critic video on Grimtooth Traps, a game I liked. Again, canvassing for more ideas. I have a library full of books, and I'll keep going through them if left to my own devices. But if you have anything you want me to cover and review, if you're curious about it and you want somebody else's opinion, you have a YouTube channel all to yourself of somebody who will do that kind of research for you. So you let me know, and I will certainly try to help you out, as long as it's not prohibitively expensive. If somebody came up and said, Rob, I'd really like to find out how Invisible Sun is by Monty Cook Games, that's a $200 game. That's not happening. Right now, at least. Unless I can find something on eBay for ridiculously cheap, but even then, it probably wouldn't have all the stuff to it anymore. So yes, let me know. I will work with you in any way you want, and I look forward to serving you up some new content very soon. Thanks. Farewell.